And who was you running against in that Heisman race?
Well, in 85, 86, Bo Jackson, I led the nation in rushing,
Right.
and he won the trophy. But when I was talking, they said, "Oh, he won it for the year before." So that's why I kind of thought. Okay, well, maybe I could win it my senior year.
Right.
I got hurt my junior year, so I was like, maybe they'll feel sorry. Hey, well, dang, he did lead the nation,
Right.
and came back and was second in the nation. Yeah.
My man, wow, that's crazy, yo.
Let me tell you, he wouldn't have had over 2,000 yards if it wasn't for me.
Yeah, you nigga that switched the offense.
He would have. I was just joking, man. He would have been the man anywhere it goes.
Beer and burgers.
People always ask me, I feel about the era I played in
Right.
relations to, players being like paid now to play.
Mm.
And, being somebody that has coached players at the collegiate
Right.
level, at every level of Division 1, have coached players in high school that been able to play at every level of Division 1, and even guys that have made it to the pros.
Yeah.
The two biggest challenges that you have, well, I'll speak on mine first. So me as a player, like I appreciated the substance that I gained that money couldn't buy as a player,
Right.
right? I mean, we knew every day that this monotonous routine of, grunt, grind, and reality was for the few far in between to make it to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And which we know is not for long, but the capturing of the bond that I had with my teammates, like there wasn't a scenario where the guys you came in, you knew like you guys were going to most likely all graduate together. You know, today's college football landscape, I'm just trying to make it year to year.
Yo, and that's crazy. Like that for me, and that's really what I want to kind of dive into. Because it's the NIL joint really opened up the floodgates, and it's a beautiful thing, and I like to call it the gift and the curse from a spectator
hmm
perspective, bro. Like it's well over, it's long overdue. Like college
Yeah.
dudes been getting some cheese. Like universities been coming up off the sweat of their back for so many years.
Yep.
I mean, from jersey sales to them putting in, like, people came to see these players, not necessarily to come to the university. They came to see the players. You know what I'm
Every
saying?
time.
And dog, from ticket sales to merchandise, dog, like, it's about time like college kids start getting paid. But on the flip of that, now they chasing the bag a lot earlier, and it's just like no loyalty no more. Like, dudes used to go to a program and be like, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like, they be a part of creating something magnificent, or special. But now they be like, you not offering me what? I'm out. I'm going across town. They offer me 10x on what you talking.
Man, listen to me. Majority of the recruiting conversations now is just like, yo, what's your number? Oh, okay. We'll offer you $100 more. Play for us. And so the dichotomy of college athletics is that you have really, really good football players, really, really talented football teams, but there's not sustained winning across the platform. And in large
Mm,
part, you have people who are making collegiate decisions based on the amount of money they can make and not necessarily based on if this is the right fit for
right,
um, your individual long-term success. Uh, you know, Case in point, I get brought in to be, let's call it the transfer portal.
mm-hmm,
And at the last school that I went to, like I was doing great there. Like I was balling out. So these people over here, they're gonna pay me 300K. They're gonna pay me 300K. But I don't win the starting job. I transferred from Virginia Commonwealth or something. And I'm like King Tut there. And then I go to V Tech. And V Tech pays me
Right.
250, but I don't win the starting job. Now the backup's only getting 75, but he won the job in training camp.
Right.
That's where the dichotomy of the team happens at right there. Because if I'm making more money, but I'm on the bench, am I really pressed to try to go ahead and get the starting job now?
Mm.
You don't really know.
No, that's
Like,
definitely, yeah. That's
you know,
woo.
you got
That's a
guys who've
wild
been on the
situation.
team for 2 years, 2.5 years, and then there's incoming freshmen
Mm-hmm.
coming in making more money than the coaches.
Ain't that crazy,
Like
yo?
you can't increase the pay of a graduate assistant who does all the work behind the scenes. You can't increase the pay of an analyst who does all the game planning work behind the scenes. But the players who play, right? They do play, but it's a system of people that are necessary for the ecosystem in totality to work. And being a person who played college athletics, coached at the collegiate level, at every level of Division 1, and it's I told you that there's an entire day of meetings just to organize one practice from player availability to the equipment managers to the the down and distance on the walkthrough period and pre-practice and the student
Mm-hmm.
assistants who are moving the ball around and like dude to the medical report. There's probably 4 to 6 hours of meetings every single day to organize one
Dude,
practice.
one
And it's
practice.
just like, players just don't love the game anymore. They don't love it the
Mm.
same, right? When you're that
I
young
got you.
and you have limited responsibilities, but you're making such a high value of income, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
think about it. There's players out here getting hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're living on campus if you want to, with no real responsibilities. I
No
mean,
real
they're
responsibilities. You get
like,
crazy.
you know, there's a financial component. Like every school has something in place where, you know, they're checking the box to make sure that, financial people are talking to these guys about being smart with their money. But come on, bro. These dudes got six-figure jewelry on their neck. Um, you know, red bottoms, driving Hellcats.
Right.
It's a real thing.
It's
So
a
it's
real
like
thing. Now
you got
right.
access to that. You got access to that, and you 19 and you 20. You like, yo, I don't gotta pay for no food. I'm on scholarship. They feed me 6 times a day.
Yeah, it feed you well,
Right.
eating good.
And I'm getting this money. Yo, I ain't playing right now. I'm telling you, bro. It's kids that's satisfied with that situation. They not
Mm-hmm.
really, they not really pushing the issue on trying to really get on the field. For what?
Right.
I'm getting a free education, I'm getting free food, and they paying me something. Even if I'm getting 60K, 70K to be a
Right.
back, cool. I'll fake the funk.
That's
I think at the time that
that's
I
not that
played,
bad.
there's a there is an overwhelmingly majority of players that probably would have laid their life on the line at every single practice, like just for an opportunity to compete.
Touch the
I can tell
field.
you right
That's
now,
right. Just to touch.
I was coaching college football for 5 years. They got kids playing Pee Wee that's playing harder than some of the guys on scholarship right now.
Yeah.
Come on
And
now.
that's a mockery. That's a mockery to the sport. It's a travesty. And nobody gonna talk about it because people don't want to really keep it all the way 100. You got really,
Right,
really
right.
talented football players that don't love football, but they can get paid to do
Mm,
it because of their talent. But
right.
in the toughest of moments, like that's why so many people walking away from football earlier and sooner. They don't love it. They're not in love with with the
The
ongoing
process.
requirements to what it takes. Ah, cool. I made enough money because we made it about the money now. It's about the
Yeah.
money now, and
Yeah.
players have earned that right over time. To be able to have access to get paid based off the billions of dollars and hundreds of millions of dollars that universities have made off of what players have put into it, and players were uncompensated, like myself.
Yeah. But players'
And
notoriety brought these universities this immense amount of capital. And I think it's time, but I do think that, and we'll jump right into, the introductions, but just to finish this conversation, I do feel that the introduction of the NIL, like I said earlier, was a gift and a curse. And I think that was kind of rolled out without actually having parameters around it, to ensure the integrity of the game. Like right now, kids like dudes will leave and get the bag somewhere else. And like you said, you got dudes getting the bag and they not even starting.
But like Coach Brown was
Yes, sir.
talking about, I see it as I blame it on the parents, and I blame it on the parents because when they start out at Pee Wee ball and they start out at Pee Wee ball, everybody thinks they're a superstar. While I was
Mm-hmm.
coaching, and while I was coaching, it was always these kids were coming to me talking about they wouldn't be concerned with going to college. They would be
Right.
concerned with how much money they were going to make in the league. And I'm like, dude, you ain't even make it to college yet. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know if you're gonna make it through there. And then the whole thing is now no shade to any level, but there's levels to the game. So if you had a D3
Mm-hmm.
game, if you had a D3 or if you had a D2, then it's gonna be a little bit more tougher for you to make it to the league. So maybe you
Mm.
should think about what education I can get and how I'm gonna be successful in life. Then if
Right.
you make it that way, maybe you can make it to the league. And when they come through, man, I remember I was down in Miami, Florida, and they
Mm.
on something different down there. Now, I was raised in the Buckeye State, and we all about football from beginning to end. But they on
Right.
something different down there. I don't know what they put in them kids' water. I don't know what they do, but you know, it's more of a situation where in Ohio, in that part of the region, we bred on toughness. Down in Florida, they bred on toughness, speed, and everything else. They bred on a lot of other things. But these kids, kids nowadays, they're more concerned with flashing, wearing flashy stuff, doing things. They not tough. Back in when I played, you couldn't lay down on a football field. It was a disgrace. And now they lay down on every play and then get up, run off for one play because they tired, then run back on the field. It don't make no sense. The game is totally different nowadays than old soldiers. Coach Brown, I got a question to ask you. You went to Virginia Tech?
what's going on? I did not go to Virginia Tech. I went to Tulane.
Thank you, brothers, for jumping on. I want to say to everybody who's tuning in, welcome back to another episode of Beer and Burgers Podcast, where the grill is hot, the beer is cold, and the conversation gets realer than your coach at halftime, player. So I'm your host, Mike Coates, and today we've got some special panelists in the building. Some are actually former football players who suited up at a big time PWI program, Tulane and Michigan State University. So we're going to dive into what it was like playing ball at these illustrious schools and campuses, what life after the game really feels like now, and y'all already know the conversations are going to get spicy. So grab your beer, sip your beer, and sit back and let's get into it. All right, fellas. So let's run it around real quick and tell the people who you are and what school you actually rep and what position you played.
So I'll go ahead. I'm Doug Rogers. I went to Michigan State. I went to the Michigan State University, the only school in Michigan. And I started at defensive end my freshman year. My last 3 years, I started at left tackle for the Spartans.
Switched up. All right.
That was.
Yeah,
Preston
man.
Preston.
You still
Oh no,
going? My
go ahead.
bad.
Go ahead.
I apologize, big dog. Yeah, this is Preston Brown, man, from Camden, New Jersey. Land of the brave, home of the forgotten. Went to Tulane University, class of 2015, Hall of Fame, wide receiver. Actually, first I played tight end a little bit my sophomore year, and I was the third down edge rusher my freshman year. And I was a 4-year starter at gunner. 6'4", 240, running down at gunner, 4-year starter.
I
Yeah, man.
appreciate it. All right. So let's talk about them playing days, man. So let's talk about what it was like on game day for y'all, man. Walk me through when you were at Michigan State, when you was at Tulane University. Y'all at those big stadiums, national TV coverage, tailgates probably going crazy. What was the atmosphere like when you were in it? Not as a fan, but as the guy putting on the pad.
Man, I think at Michigan State, I remember my first college football game. Was we played the Colorado Buffaloes out in Colorado.
Mm,
So I think every stadium is different, gives you a different feel. You know what I mean? So we were out in Colorado, and that Mile High ain't no joke. That Mile High, when they say Mile High is a mile high. So
mm,
that was my freshman year, and man, look, it was a funny story. So every stadium different. You get a different feel, and you get the people, and they're all on top of you. You sit in front of you. You're playing in front of 60, 100,000 people, and the
right.
funny thing about it is you really can't hear when you're playing on the field all those people. But when I was our freshman year, me and my man Mark Ingram Sr. Mark Ingram Sr., Mark Ingram Jr.'s father. So he crazy as all get up.
Right.
So we coming out now. The Buffaloes have this Colorado Buffaloes got that big buffalo. Now this is back.
Yeah.
This is back in the '80s, right? So they at every score they run around the buffalo after they score and everything. So we coming out of the tunnel. We coming out of the tunnel. Now, this is my first college experience. We coming out of the tunnel. We getting all sized up. Me and Mark standing next to one another, and we standing next to this buffalo cage. Then they run the buffalo out.
Buffalo.
They run the buffalo out. The buffalo goes around the field, and then we see one of the people holding the buffalo strap fall off. Now the buffalo still running. You know what I'm saying?
Go.
You know what I'm saying? This is a big buffalo. So me and Mark, we freshmen. We sitting over there going,
Right.
we all juiced up. We like, yeah. We like, oh, this buffalo gonna stop, and the buffalo start looping back around the field, and then another one fall off. You know what I'm saying? And it was like 4 of them. The buffalo running so fast now, he had a full speed gallop. You know what I'm saying? So all 4 of the people holding the straps fall off the buffalo, and the buffalo now running at us. You know what I'm saying? So we in the tunnel, we in the little tunnel coming out.
Right, y'all at the bottom, y'all.
There's people behind us, there's people in front of us, and we like, yo, look at the buffalo. And I keep hitting my man. I say, man, the buffalo coming. Here come the buffalo. And then the buffalo keep coming, and we standing next to the gate, to this gate.
Right.
And man, all I see, my man Mark start climbing up the wall. I try to climb up the wall, and the buffalo runs in the little cage, hits the cage, blam, and just shakes the whole cage. And man,
Right.
I was shook. You know what I'm saying? I was shook. That was my first college experience coming out of, to play college football. I ain't get myself together.
Hey, you thinking your career about to end
Yo,
before it even starts?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yo, that's wild. Yo,
Yeah, bro.
I peep him over here name dropping. What you got, Preston? What's up, man? Yo.
I mean, the interesting thing, man, Tulane being in New Orleans, it was like every team you played for home games, like they always travel with extra people. Like everybody wanted to take that New Orleans trip so that it seemed seriously, man. My first game, we played national TV and we played against TCU.
Mm,
I was a freshman, man. At the time, I was like the highest recruit Tulane had ever signed. But I wasn't really in the lineup offensively, but I was starting on special teams. And
right.
I remember my boy Fred Smith took took the opening kick back 100 yards, man. My roommate in camp, you
Yeah.
know, little freshman receiver. Like he took the kick back 100 yards, and like the Superdome erupted. Like it went bananas.
Yeah, but what
You
I would say to you, what I would say to you is that every, like I was saying, every stadium, and like Coach was getting to, I think every stadium is kind of different. You know what I'm saying? And every conference is kind of different. So when you play at, let's say, Colorado, you play up in the mountains, that's going to be different. And whether you playing Big Ten, so if you play in Bloomington, Indiana, or if you play at Ohio
right.
State, or if you go out, I can't even fathom what these dudes are going now because I don't even know how many schools the Big Ten has in it now. I think it's like 14. Yeah, you
And they be changing up. Yeah, they be changing up conferences all crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and when you go to and the atmosphere always changes. But the great thing I would say about where I went to school at Michigan State, we have a great alumni association. And the
Mm-hmm.
alumni show up in the fan base with the student body is such that they always make it, a great place to play in, and so we play in
Mm-hmm.
Spartan Stadium. Spartan Stadium is off the chain, it's off the chain from the beginning. You go in, because it kind of give you an idea what we do like a game day, when
Right.
we go to the night before the game, we'll go in and we stay at a place at a hotel on campus, which is called the Kellogg Center. And then we have our
Okay.
traditions, and everybody has their tradition. We walk over to the stadium, touch Sparty, and then go into the stadium, you know what I'm saying? And you get the mass crowd that kind of like pumps you up, you know what I'm saying? So as you're walking to the stadium, you can imagine, you probably have our stadium sits, 80,000 people, but you may have like 85,000 in the stadium, and then you have people that are just tailgating. So as
Mm,
they're tailgating, you just going through the whole thing. They're tailgating, they cheering you on and everything. It's an unbelievable rush that you get, when you're going into the stadium. Then you get into the stadium and it's kind of like, you imagine that everything is laid out for you. You really don't have to do anything. I mean, they treat you really well at big schools like Tulane, Michigan
mm-hmm.
State. And, you get in there and then when you come out of the tunnel, you may go out for special teams at first. And like Coach was talking about, go out for special teams. Then you come back out for game. Now, you go out for
Right.
special teams and, I will go out for special teams and you may have like 20, 30,000 people there. Then when you go back in and you come back out, you got 80,000 people. The band is banging.
It done ballooned up. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything is happening. You know what I'm saying? And you just
Right.
they got you sights and you just feeling good about the whole situation. And it's a different experience. It's a different experience. But like I said to you, when you're playing out there in the game, it's amazing to you because you're ready for the game. But you don't hear. The funny thing is that you don't hear like the crowd, like it's kind of blocked out, a lot, and maybe you just hear like like a one of those sounds, but you don't hear. But if your loved ones are in the stand, you can
Right.
hear them talk to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
You know what I'm
crazy,
saying?
yo.
I can hear my mama talk to me. My mother used to always be
Right.
like, "Yo, stop cursing." You know what I'm saying? So, so you can hear people, but it's
Right.
an unbelievable feeling in terms of being able to run out and go into different places and go to different
Right.
hotels, meet different people and meet different alumni, and everyone is different. So every place you go to, whether it's away or home, it all changes.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, my man. So you had said something that kind of piqued my interest, man. You said that they take good care of you at these big universities. So why don't you expound on that, man? Like, do you really feel like there's a difference in the treatment compared, like a let's say a PWI like Michigan State compared to a HBCU like a Howard or Morgan or something like that?
Without question, there's a difference in recruiting budgets. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So when you look at the recruiting budget, it's a difference. So you go to a Big Ten school, the Big Ten school is going to be able to do a lot more for you than someone who
right.
doesn't have that big recruiting budget. And so,
Hmm.
you know, and you look at a school like Penn State. I mean, they got 50,000 people on campus. Michigan State got 50,000 people on campus. And so it's a different, I'll take it back to the recruiting process. You know, when you go through
Hmm.
the recruiting process, is a totally different thing in terms of the recruiting process, because mere fact that they're going to take you and put you on a jet, and they're going to take you away on a private jet, and they're going to put you in a hotel, and then they're going to feed you, and they're going to take you around, and they're going to give you a host, and they're going to do all these things for you, and they're going to take you to steak dinners at this top of the line steakhouse. And when you're a kid, man, the best steakhouse we had was like what a Sizzler.
Golden
You know
Corral.
what I'm saying? You was going to Sizzler.
Right,
You wasn't going to no Morton's. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So
right,
they
right.
taking you to these top of the line places. Same way, the night before a game. The night before a game, you stay in
Mm,
a hotel. It's on campus. I mean, that wasn't no big thing because it was on campus and everything. But you're gonna sit there and you get your meals, you get your steak, and you get everything. And they did that anyway for us each and every day. But that's
mhm.
kind of the difference between schools like that. I mean, we ate steak every day. We ate, I mean, literally, I'm not even joking. We had steak every day, and we had our own.
Like is it option or like
No, well, back in
just
my day, they didn't. We didn't really have the diet. We had a dietary person, but they felt like like
okay,
like filling you up with protein was the best thing.
right?
So one of the I played for this dude named George Perlis, right? And so George Perlis was a Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl champion, and then on his staff, I got recruited by Nick Saban, and so we used to see people come up. So like people like Mean Joe Green and and
Will
and,
come,
and
yeah.
Mel Blunt and all those guys. We would see them all the time. So it was you get spoiled to the fact that you're supposed to be treated well, but we ate steak, we
Hmm.
ate. Well, I mean, the lowest thing we ate was probably spaghetti, but you could imagine, but look, if you ate steak 7 days a week, you'd be looking forward to eating some spaghetti at some point.
Yeah, because yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
you
But now,
be something like that. You're eating hard.
yeah, we used to take the steak at a certain point. We used to take the steak, and I used to take my steak dinners, and then I used to just give them to some people in the dorm. You know what I mean? I would give it, but those are the things that's kind of like different, But the thing
Hmm.
about between that's the difference between like Division III schools and things like we would always ride on. We only bus I ever been on going to a game was going to Michigan, and because that was like 55 miles down the road, So we always rode first class in terms of planes and everything, and so that's going to be the major difference between smaller schools, and then the facilities. The facilities are so great, and then the alumni,
Right.
and it's a total different experience than going to another school. So
Hmm.
yeah,
No, that's dope,
yeah,
man. So let's get into campus life, man. What was that like for you walking around Michigan State? And I know you came from Youngstown. I definitely want to get into that
yeah,
in a little
yeah.
bit. What was that like? That transition from I'm leaving home, leaving mama, leaving pop, family. I'm about to go on this big campus now.
Yeah, I think the campus life thing, it was really cool. You know, it was 50,000 people. And if you can imagine Michigan State big, I'm trying to get somebody on. I'm
Right.
trying to get somebody on the call for you. But Michigan State was a great place to go, and it had 50,000 people. It had different quadrants, of the campus. So I lived on South Complex. So you bond with each other, like you bond with your football players, and you bond with basketball players, and you bond with track people. So we had our own like
Right.
little kind of like clique, and then we're with.
Well, athletic,
It was
yeah,
more,
athletes stuff together.
yeah, and it was more like, and then you have like everybody has their own little social groups, and so we did that. Hopefully, you can get on. I got somebody special getting on. So, but hopefully, we had our social groups. We didn't. When you go to school like that, in terms of social life, I had a job, so I was on a job. So it wasn't like I had a lot of time.
You chose to have a job, or was this like a requirement,
Football's a
or
job.
how did you end up having a job?
Football's a job. It's a
No,
yeah, yeah,
he said no, brother. Football isn't sparring with work, brother.
yeah. So
So was we making class?
man,
Was
I
we
was making class, so we coach, you asked me something, we on something recorded. No. So
But I ain't trying to set nobody up,
but I
bro.
got my degree. I ain't worried about it. I got my degree.
I ain't worried about it. I got
Yeah.
mine.
But look,
He said, don't worry about the means. Just know I got
so
it.
you have the cool thing is that you got all these people, and 50,000 people all over the place, and so you can make different relationships. You had these large dorms, and so it's kind of like you can have your own little culture. You can stick with the people you want to stick with. So and it's more so like what the world is. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's 50,000 people, and you got maybe, I don't know, it was about 8,000 black people at the time. So you have the people that you can hang out with, and you got different relationships and things like that. So campus was cool, and everything was nice, and we had a bus system that you could ride around campus and get on a bus, or you could get your own vehicle or ride bikes and things like that. The regular stuff that you see on other campuses. So, but you had a lot of people in the Midwest. Everybody is kind of friendly. And so those people, it's a different environment. And so you also had you also had your fraternities and sororities and things like that are there. And you got fraternity row. Then you on weekends you can go out and party and do what you want to do. But most of the time during football season, we didn't really party that much. We went to, on campus, we went to, we didn't party that much, because you asked me the question. Really get up your day. This is true though. Your day is really spoken for. They take up every bit of your time. So you get up at, you may roll out of bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock. You got to be all the way across campus for a class. And so now you're going to be across campus. Your class is not going to stop until like 2 o'clock. You got to be in the building by 3 o'clock. You got to be out. Our practice will start at 3:30, so we were over there from 3:30 to 5, and then you got study table, and you got all these other things going on. It's a lot for a day, and you may not come back to your dorm till 10 o'clock at night, and then your whole thing is going to start all over.
So y'all, so when you was balling, y'all didn't have like that 6 a.m. workout
Let me tell
craziness?
you something.
Like,
If you would have come in and you were a coach and you would have said, we got 6 a.m. workouts, I would have said, Coach, you not the school for me. I would have gone in a different direction. Because we wasn't getting up. I needed somebody. For me, I'm not a morning person, so you got to know what type of person you are, So you want to get up at 6 a.m., the Southern schools, they really got up at like that early, and they went out to practice because of the heat, and the heat and everything.
Yeah. They want to get it in
Yeah.
early before that.
So the
Yeah, and the
northern
heat get up
schools,
on them.
it's cold, so by
So you want to go out when I got you. I see
yeah,
what you're
so they
saying.
kind of flip it around, so you're not in that environment. But and then when the evolution, we got an indoor football facility, we started.
Okay, a little practice field.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we started doing so during the winter we would get up at 6 a.m. have 6 a.m. run, but during the football season, because like you have so many other people, so when you start 6 a.m. you got your dietitians, you got your doctors, you got all these other people that need to be around, and so we were doing everything in the afternoons. Yeah, but
Hmm.
college was great, and for me one of the things I liked about Michigan State was when I went on my recruiting trips, I was able to put myself in like a vacuum in terms of being around black professors, being around black
Right.
professors, and being able to have black alumni and being able to put myself around that, but also having professors that really cared about you. So that was it for me. But the campus life was great for me.
Nah, it sounded like it was a good
Yeah, it
time.
was.
I mean, we go, we kind of hitting the surface on it. I'm gonna let you do your thing, man. But it sounded like it was a
Yeah,
good
I had a
time.
good.
I'm
Yeah,
reading
I had a good time.
lines on it.
I had a good time. But
Said he made his own culture in the dorm. I hear
yeah,
what you're
but
saying, player.
a good thing is like when you go to a school like I don't understand how these kids bounce around nowadays from school to school, things like
Yeah,
that.
man.
But the culture, the friends I have, and I still have today, you know, that bond was developed, over years. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so they missed the bond. And like, we were talking about earlier, I think that they really don't care, so you get kids that come on to a team and all they care about is themselves. They don't care about anybody else, and they just care about the bag, and they care about the money, and they care about going to the league. And so you take a kid that's 17 or 18 and you give them $300,000 or $500,000 a year, and you still have
Right.
those leeches. You still have those people that think that you're going to go to the league, and now you just really just strengthen their view in terms of what you are, so they can leech on top of you. And so now they're
Hmm.
leeching on these kids, and they think that they're going to the league. I had some kids that I put in different schools, different places, and they really feel like they went to a D3 or D2 school or HBCU school. And instead of lasting the whole time there, they say, this is just going to be a one stop for me. Or if you don't play as a freshman, that I'm out, I'm going somewhere else. Man, the thing of what you went to school there for was to be a student athlete and
Right.
to go there and to get you play football, but to get your degree. I
Mm.
had a professor that told me, so we're gonna get back to what you were talking about about going to school. So I had a professor that reached out to me, and I wasn't going to school. It was during football season. I was, you know,
Football and
hey man, it's 200 people in the class. You know what I'm saying? So it's 200 people in the class. How are you gonna miss me?
looking for right. Looking for
You're
me.
right. You looking for me and 200 people? But yeah, he was looking for me and 200 people. So you
Mm.
really don't understand who you are or what you mean to the campus because you think you just regular Joe Donut. The
Right.
professors know because they see you on the list. Came to me
Mm.
one time and he said I need to talk to you. I said, well, it was midterms, and I said I'm getting ready to take this midterm. He said I shouldn't let you take this midterm. He said I
Mm.
need to talk to you. I need to talk to you. So I said okay. So he comes. He says I'm gonna talk to you after you get out of practice. So he
Okay.
was a cool professor. He drives his Harley Davidson over there, with the big
Yeah.
leather bucket, leather
Big old
wallet.
cruiser. That's
Yeah,
right.
with the
Yeah.
chain hanging out, and he got the beard and everything on and everything. And so he comes over, and I'll never forget this. He comes over and he says, we sit there. He said, I'm gonna let you take the midterm and everything. He said, but I'm gonna ask you a question. And I said, okay, what's that? Now I was arrogant, you know what I'm saying? I was arrogant at the time. I just knew I was going to be making millions of dollars. Everybody in my circle knew I was going to be making millions of dollars. And he said, he said, "Are you a pimp or are you a hoe?" And I said, well, I was like,
He got you. He was
yeah,
dumbfounded. You was like, what?
no, I was arrogant though. You know what I'm saying? What would you say?
Right. I'm a
I'm a
pimp.
pimp.
What you talking
Yeah,
about? I'm on
I'm,
top.
I'm the pimp. He was like, I beg to differ. I say you the hoe. And I said, what you mean? You know what I'm saying? He said, you got all this stuff around you and you have all this education. You have an opportunity to change your life after football. He said, but the university is getting over you right now because you're not taking advantage of your education. And and I was like, he said, in order for you to be the pimp, he said, you need to take advantage of every opportunity that comes available to you. And
Right.
he said, you know, you're too smart to just let this opportunity pass you by. And what do you think my ignorant butt said? I said,
Like, I ain't gonna need no education. I'm a
I
football player. Get
said,
out of
no, I
here.
said, they can keep pimping me as long as I'm about to make this money, you know, but that was a defense
Mm,
mechanism. You know what I'm saying? But as I went back and I
right.
thought about what he said, he made perfect sense. And I started going to his class, you know, and I started going to classes and I started taking it seriously because, you know, at that point, you realize that, yeah, you know, you should be able to take advantage of the situation and get your
Mm-hmm.
degree. And I think it's sad that these kids go to school for 4 years and you know or transfer each and every year. So that's how you can tell they're not serious about education because they're transferring. And every time they transfer, all your credit hours don't transfer over. So
Yeah.
how
No.
long is it going to take you to get a degree? So you're not serious about your degree. You're not serious about education. You went to school to play football. And so the mindset of people have to change, you know.
Right. Right. No, that's a good point. That's a real good point, man. And that's a great segue into life after football, man. So, fast forwarding, you've graduated, you know what I'm saying? Not sure if how many years you were able to play in the league, but you don't got no more 6 a.m. lifts and
Uh,
workouts. You know, your day is not scheduled out for you anymore. Now you a man,
right. Yeah.
you out in the real world. You ain't lacing them up, man. What was life like? What was that initial transition from that college life, being a college athlete to now
Yeah.
I'm a grown man. I'm out here in the
See, I was always the transition thing. I think it's about having parents. And so
mm,
when you have a strong parental base that you know that like there's life after football, I went into it with knowing that, I'm pretty smart. I knew I was a little bit smart, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of figured that, life after football, that I was going to play football and then I was going to play professional football. Then after playing professional football, then I was going to go into the business world. And so I
gotcha.
never just thought that I was just going to play football and that was going to take me for the rest of.
And that was it, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do. I had friends that thought that way, and and they went down that path. But a lot of them, some people are successful, some people are not. You got to look back in the 80s and the 90s. You know, $1 million. I mean, if I gave you $1 million, or if you made $3 million, or if you're financially savvy, that you could probably live off of that, for the rest of your life. But if you're not financial savvy, $5 million go real quick,
Mm,
and then you're looking back and now you don't have a degree, or $20 million can go real quick, and so when you look at the basketball players, you look at them and now these kids, these young men are making $120 million. But it always goes back to a fool and his money will soon part. So you know,
mm,
you,
talk
you
about
can
it.
go through $120 million. People say, "How can you get through?" Because I could tell you one person that it looks like is going to be broke by the time he finished playing football, which is what's the kid that played down in Miami, the wide receiver?
Tyreek.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you get like 8 babies, 8 baby mamas. You get mansions, you get cars. You get all this stuff going on. You got people leaning on you. You got all these other people that you're paying for in these lifestyles, and you got Uncle Sam. You got the tax man. You, you
Knocking at your
know,
door.
you got
Yo, I need
right,
that.
yeah. You got the tax man. Now you got your agent. You got all these people that are trying to reach out to you. And it's kind of like, I could see how you could go to $120 million. I mean, I know you wouldn't, and I know I wouldn't go to $120 million. But for somebody to say you and my lifestyle, but if you had $120 million and you were thinking about just making 5% interest off that money each and every year, the common sensible
Come on,
person
bro.
would just say, I'm just going to live off the interest and I'm not going to touch anything else.
Live off the interest. Leave that principle to continue to grow that pot. I'm gonna take my little joint off the top every
Yeah, but
year.
you hear a lot of people go and say, I tried to invest, but I tried to invest with this person, they stole my money. I tried to do this,
Mm-hmm.
the things didn't go well, and then you hear the horror stories of people on drugs and everything.
Yeah, family members are taking advantage of them. Nah, I just think on that level, and this is just me from the outside looking in. I think when you get those type of deals, when you start to make that type of
Mhm.
money, life changing money, you have to start making life changing decisions. Like you can't just say yes to everybody.
But
Yeah, I
how do you
know.
make
A lot of us.
how you make those changes? How you make life changing change when
You
you didn't sit in class? You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So
You don't know. Yeah, you don't know how to make, especially if you don't even like. A lot of brothers don't even come from
right,
that to know I need to get me a CPA. I need to get a financial advisor, a wealth management advisor. I got to learn how to say no. Yes, I'm gonna take care of mama, daddy, my siblings, but I don't need to take care of Aunt Flo, cousin JoJo, and Nana May. Like, yeah, I know you babysit me one day, but that's that's not on me to have to pay you $1 million because you babysat me back in the day. That was just
exactly.
you chose to do that. I ain't had no control of that. I was a
I mean,
child, and
but you gotta love.
it's hard to. I know it's hard to say no. Trust me, I'm a reformed people pleaser myself. It's hard to say no sometimes, but
I'm not a
when you
people
start to
pleaser.
sit back and look at, yeah, yeah, you don't got no problem. You shoot it straight
Yeah,
no.
I shoot straight from the hip. But I can tell you this much. I always thought, when I was going through and I I got to my senior year, so I had made all Big Ten. I had made, preseason All American. I was supposed to be going in the first to the third round of the draft. When you look at things like this, and then I blow my knee out, and you got a knee injury where
Mm-hmm.
where where you go to Houston. I was trying to get my man Lorenzo White on the phone. I gave him the link, so he may join it.
Okay.
But when you go to certain places, or you're going to certain places in the NFL, first thing they're gonna do is give you a physical. Now, if
Yeah.
you can't pass the physical, it's physically a wrap for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
and you look at it, and a lot of my friends, okay, they got money now. When people hear you go into the NFL, everybody automatically thinks that you just have all this pot of money and you're wealthy for the rest of your life, and it's not like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was going to get my mother. I said, well, I asked them my parents what they wanted. My father wanted a car. He said all he wanted was a car. I said, okay, I can make that happen. I was going to get him a Jaguar. Then, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? That was his car that he wanted all his life. Then
Mm-hmm.
mother, she didn't want nothing. So, I would have bought her something. I don't know, wouldn't have been. But I always tell kids, and this may sound cold, but your mother is not your responsibility. That's your father's responsibility. And that's
That's
to
true.
take and provide for your mother. Now, you may want to buy your mama a house. I think that's great, but you should do nothing for your mother or your parents on your first contract. You should be doing for them on your second contract. Your first contract should be one that cements your family for the rest of your life, and then that you're able to
Mm-hmm.
provide for your parents in their elder years, not providing for them new and right out of the box.
Right. No, no, no. That's a good point, man. That's a good point because yeah, a lot of dudes go broke real quick,
Yeah.
and it's not always guaranteed you're gonna get that second contract. So like you bless you. You gotta make the most out of that first one, man. And
Yeah,
a lot of dudes, they don't get blessed with being, in the top 10 and they get that crazy $1 million signing bonus, all that,
yeah.
man.
The
So
average
definitely,
the
man.
lifespan of a NFL football player is 3 years. So, you know, it's
Mm,
3 years, maybe 3.5. If you get on the taxi squad and you're on the practice squad, that's only $2,500 a week. You know what
mm,
I'm saying? You don't have any guaranteed money. So unless you sign a contract and you're there, and you could get cut at any time. So unless
time.
your only the guaranteed money is the guaranteed money. So you want to stick around, and more valuable. What's more valuable
Right,
than anything is a college degree, and is a
right,
college degree. But when you get mature, when you mature, you understand that.
man. But that's a good point, man. So, and because I definitely want to delve into what do you think has shifted, or what is growing that mindset where you got these kids coming in and they're not even playing the game for the affinity of the game, the love of the game. They're playing more so, like Coach Preston was saying, they're chasing the bag.
Hmm.
Like, what do you think is causing that shift? Like, is it now because of the NIL? Like, everybody like,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah.
you need to get in, and like, do you think that not only does that mindset cause a lot of issues for the player, the caliber of player that's coming into programs, but do you think that's really deteriorating the program itself? Like, it seems to be no loyalty. Like, athletes get recruited and they might be gone before the season's over.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think the that getting the bag has really it's damaged the game, and it's
Mm,
damaged the game to the fact that these kids don't think that you have to listen to them anymore, coaches, because if they make more money than you, then why do they have to listen to you? Or or in college it's a little bit different because they feel kind of like you have to listen to me because I'm in control of your playing time. So if I'm in control of
mm,
your playing time, I can dictate whether you get this NIL deal. But these kids come out, with these 4 and 5 stars. That's the biggest lie I ever told the man. You know what I mean? So, I let me tell you something. I didn't know I was highly recruited. I had no idea. And they used to have these magazines, like they were going around Ohio. It'd be just like pieces of paper folded up like a little newsletter, you know. They would
right,
come to you, and I remember I got placed in my first newsletter, and I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? You in high school, I thought I was somebody. They got these rivals and all this other stuff that goes on, but I didn't realize it was going on. Now these kids have these stars, and they give you a 3 stars if let's say University of Maryland gives you a star, the offer letter. They'll let you have
right,
3 stars because you got a D1 letter. Now, if
right,
you do well and they actually look you up, and if you got, let's say, 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 scholarship offers, they're gonna give you 4 stars. Now, without seeing you, you know what I'm saying? These dudes they don't look at film. They just little high school, college dudes, never played the game, pencil neck dudes. They just rating people.
right,
And so I've never heard the biggest lie about all these 5 star dudes. Because if you truly a 5 star is a dude that's gonna make it to the league, hands down. 5 star,
right.
you
Without
without
question.
question going
Yeah.
to a league. How are you a 5 star? That's like the other lie that people tell, that they run 4.2s and run 4.3s. It ain't that many people in this world that run a 4.2, 4.3, 40-yard dash. So they just the biggest bunch of liars nowadays. But I didn't realize I was so big, and I didn't. You know what? Even when I went to when I signed, I didn't realize how big I was. I probably I
Hmm.
probably had, I can't even tell you. I probably had over 50 or 60 scholarship offers, and I couldn't. it really boiled down to I could have gone anywhere I wanted to go, and,
Hmm.
and my father came to me and said, he said, I ain't gonna be running around all these recruiting trips all around. I gotta work. You know what I'm saying? So he said,
You better pick one.
he
Hurry up.
said, my question was to him, and see, this is where the kids break up and they really don't care because they turned it into a business. My thing was, I said, I wanted my family to be around me when I played. So I said, on Saturday, because I know you got to go work. You got to go work at the plant. You got to go do this. How, what mile or how many hours would you be willing to drive so you could get back to work?
On Saturday, right after getting off, and
And
then
then, and
yeah,
maybe you can work
you
on
got
Sunday. Maybe he said 5 hours. So I said 5 hours. I said okay, and I just drew a circle around 5 hours,
5 hours in the
and I
house.
said I'm gonna go to a school within this 5 hour radius. And so I took a trip to. I took my 5 trips. I took 3 trips seriously, and then I took the other 2, and I was just joking.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's my guy. Yo, Lo,
Big time.
yo, Lo.
My
What's
man.
going on?
Thanks, man, for jumping on, man. This is my guy, Mike Coates, man.
What's going
He
on?
wanted to talk.
Oh,
He
okay.
he got he got a podcast, and
Okay.
we I was talking about Michigan State, and so I said, let me see if I can get my man jump on the call for a couple of minutes. So uh, so he helping the kids.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Look, he already got Michigan State. I told you it was all about green and white. He still got that Michigan State on. See, we, we always about Michigan State.
Yo, yeah, that's that Spartan dog in you, huh? That's what you be talking about all the time, dog. Yeah.
Oh.
They got to be
Yo,
playing low. It's all about the Spartan dog, baby.
man, thanks for jumping on, man. Appreciate you jumping on, man. We just talking about, what your experience was playing at a historic institution like Michigan State University. Kind of Doug was kind of going off of how he ended up getting recruited and coming to Michigan State.
But the
uh,
great thing about
well,
Lorenzo, and I know you may not know, Lorenzo, you finished what, third in the Heisman? You
yeah.
finished third.
Well, actually, they messed up because Chuck Long, the first as a sophomore, I finished fourth, and then I did it again my senior year, um, in '88. I
Wow.
mean, yeah, for the for going to New York.
And who was you running against in that Heisman race?
Well, in '85, '86, Bo Jackson. I led the nation in rushing,
Right.
and he won the trophy. But when I was talking, they say, "Oh, he won it for the year before." So that's why I kind of thought, okay, well, maybe I could win it my senior year.
Right.
I got hurt my junior year, so I was like, maybe they'll feel sorry. Hey, well, dang, he
They
did
gonna
lead the
hook you up.
nation, and came back and was second in the nation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My man. Wow, that's crazy,
Well,
yo.
let me tell you, he
That's
wouldn't have
crazy.
had over 2,000 yards if it wasn't for me.
Yeah, you making that switch to offense is what you
Nah,
try to say.
he would have. He would. I'm just joking, man. He would have been the man anywhere it go.
Well, I mean, just looking back on it, the crazy thing was like if you, I'm originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and everybody down here really thought I was going to Georgia. I mean, if you had to ask anybody because of Herschel Walker, I mean, my whole thing, everything that I did was about the Heisman Trophy. You
Right.
know, um, I in choosing the school, I remember visiting the University of Michigan, and that's who it came down to between Michigan and Michigan State. And boy, that Bo Beckler, oh my God, you know the one thing about, I mean, he really wanted me, but when I came up there to visit in Michigan, I asked him a question. I asked him, would it be selfish of me to want to win the Heisman Trophy? He looked and then he said, well, if you was up for the if you up for the Heisman Trophy, then that means we're doing pretty good. So, and with me saying that, that made things. I'm talking about. I mean, I'm talking about like if he wanted me, if he really wanted me, then that made it 10 times magnified that he wanted me. For asking that question. I never forget. Like the day I get ready to sign, I was getting ready to sign, and he was like telling that, I mean, you don't really have to sign right now. You can wait. you know, I said, no, I'm gonna go ahead and go. And then he said, but I thought you wanted to win the Heisman Trophy. So, he said I can't win it at Michigan State. And so as it oddly as it may seem, he was right. So
But I think the year we were playing and you were leading the country, at that time, I think who won it that year? Because I thought you
Bo Jackson.
was it Bo Jackson or
Mm-hmm.
was it the
Yeah.
yeah?
No, Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson won it. That was my sophomore year.
Okay, I thought it was. Did Chuck Long win it?
No, Chuck. No, what happened was me and Chuck Long split votes in the
Oh,
Midwest.
okay.
So that's how I dropped the fourth. And every time I see Chuck, he was like, "Man, why you ain't just drop out the race?" I said, "But I think I would have a better chance, Chuck, if you dropped out."
Right. Yeah. You know.
Try to get you to drop out. Like, fool, this is my
Yeah,
dream, man. Shut up.
yeah,
I
we
could have
just
swore
always
you
tease
were.
each
I
other.
could have
We just
swore you
always
were
tease
leading
each other.
the race. I thought you led the country in rushing that year.
I
Yeah.
did. I did lead
Yeah.
it. Yeah, led it with 2,000
Yeah,
yards.
that's what I thought. I'm always gonna be biased, coach. I thought he should have won it that year, and
Yeah.
then, but that was Bo Jackson.
You leading
That was Bo Jackson
you
Jr.
lead the NCAA with 2,000. Yo, come on, man.
Yeah.
In college,
Yeah,
Yeah.
bruh. Yeah, you right. They was like, yeah, we gonna get us the boat. We know what it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, their whole thing was he a sophomore.
Yeah, he a youngin', man. He got more time.
And and that was the thing that they said that, and then, it didn't happen all the way until till Tebow got it.
Mm.
Then they came back and said, well, if that was the case, then okay, in 1985, Lorenzo White should have won. That was
yeah, yeah. I
Exactly.
yeah,
thought he should have won it.
Exactly.
I thought he should have won it that year.
yeah,
But you won everything else,
yeah,
though. You won
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Dope
yeah.
Walker. You won everything else.
Well, we what we did was um, we pretty much, I mean, like I said, with the exception of like I said, with that award, because normally they just give that to the whole, the Heisman Trophy. So everything else, we just, it was me, yeah, and even all the way to the the all Americans and all that stuff. So yeah, but like I said, it was a great experience. And as far as me, like I said, I always set my goals high, and coming to Michigan State, man, like I said, I look at Doug, if he, like I said, if he didn't get hurt, you know,
Mhm.
you know, uh, it's just always about that time, and the right time, and different things happen, so I was thankful to get over my injury in my junior year and come back and at least get second in the nation. So
There you go. There you go. Bounce back.
and, so the goal still was go pro, and I did that. Got
Hmm.
drafted in the first round. So,
Oh
thank
man.
God. What they say, that one out of
So how did you? So let me ask you this though, White. How did you end up going to Michigan State? Now, I know you shared that, but did you get any offers from any HBCUs? Was that even a consideration to go to a HBCU?
You know what? It was. It's so. It's so crazy. Like down here, me being in the South. Like when during that time, every everybody was thinking about more of just like HBCU and thinking about it was like, oh, we don't have a chance. We don't do even when it came to the I mean, like even with HBCUs, because like a lot of my friends, a lot of them did go to the HBCU, so it was like it was I mean it was always good, me supporting it and all that, but at that time times was different. Everybody was getting set to go play division, go Division 1, you know. So, but like I said, times are different now, you know,
Yeah, boy.
and but I say times. I mean, I really said that like really wrong because you can't really say that because Walter Payton and all them other guys that came out of they did well in the pros. So that just lets you know, and when I say times, the times is different. To see the things that Dion and all the other former NFL coaches, players that going to the HBCU. Them guys, right now it's just so much. Now it's even better. You know,
Hmm.
it's even better. For them, and they know that. Kids. I don't even call it sliding under the, sliding through the cracks, because that's not the right thing to say. I mean, talent is talent.
Hmm.
You can, I mean, and we seen that, with Dion and the things that he did at Jackson State, and then also all these things that all the other coaches are doing now. So, I mean, it's no more side than the Christ. This is all about athletes now.
Yeah, yeah,
If you're
yeah.
good, if you're good, and they don't always, and then like I said, and in the pros they don't always get it right. How many times you done seen players that they done drafted like all the way down the line become all pros and get yellow jackets.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Talk
yeah.
about it. Talk about it.
So
No.
it's not a right, or it's not a I mean what like I guess where you go or how you go. It's like pretty much what you choose to do.
Hmm.
Travis Hunter did that. He showed you that.
Hmm.
To be the first pick, and he went to Jackson State over all the other schools.
Right. Yep.
Come on.
So I mean, I'm glad that that worked out, and like I said, it helped the other kids coming out to see that, oh shoot, we could go from here.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, I appreciate that's a great example. That's a great example, man. Let me ask you this though, Lorenzo. What was it? I guess I want to know when you look now at the evolution of the college athlete, particularly around NIL. What was the difference from when you all were playing ball to and trying to make it on campus to now these kids come in and they'll stay with a program, but another program offer them another couple $1,000s in NIL money. And they, oh, I'm gone. Like, what do you think about the evolution of the college athlete right now?
well, that part of it, you know, I'm all for the player getting paid, but when you I see it as when you jump around going to different places, like, I mean, if you're going for the money, right? I can't blame you, but at the end of the day, if you're making money, then it should be something that person should have deep within themselves to say, okay, well, I'm part of a team, because and you're looking at it now. I mean, you're looking at and what I'm seeing now is that I see these players that jumping around, but it ain't always a good fit, and everything's not. You know, For some guys it's working, and some for a lot of guys we seeing each week. Because look at the teams. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
team. So it's showing. I would say. I mean, I would say the inconsistency. Because I mean, you trying to put this team together, and it don't always turn out. Well, I'm just looking at it now, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing. I mean, look
I
at
get
nobody in the world picked Florida State to do what they doing.
it. You ain't lying.
What they doing?
You ain't lying. There was nobody would have guessed that right there.
Think about that.
Nobody would have guessed this right now,
They
Joe.
winning? Florida
Yeah,
State winning? I had no idea.
Man,
yeah.
man.
So they
I
are.
mean,
Oh, okay.
and like I said, I mean, so now in a sense, like everybody's shooting for the stars, but the parity right now in the college football, you know, all the jump around. I don't care how much money. Now, my thing is, look at. I mean, I I'm willing to say when you look at what's going on in the what's going on in college, with them, with the ones paying the money, how many people are really just lighting it up?
Yeah.
There you go.
And what we going into like the fourth week?
Yeah.
So come Saturday or Thursday, you don't know. You don't know because the
You
teams are looking like that now. You know,
don't know.
I want to know: do they still have a graduation? What's the graduation rate like? And do they still have credits? We had to get so many credits and so many credits to your degree. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
if you bouncing around like this, how can you have so many credits to your degree if you've been to 4 schools in four
yeah,
years?
Right.
yeah,
And each university only allows so many to be transferable. So
yeah,
it's like you said earlier, it's a double-edged sword, man. It's
yeah,
beautiful to see these young men finally getting,
yeah,
paid for their notoriety that they bring to
yeah.
universities and they bring to
Right.
programs. But at the same time, you kind of see how programs are starting to be kind of starting to crumble because there's no foundation or there's no consistency. Like we got this player, we're building a program, we got him for 4 years or whatever. These jokers be in there for half a season and they at some other
Yeah,
university.
and then it goes back to whether are you the pimp or you the hoe. So now
Mm,
Yeah,
goes back to because you think
yeah,
you pimping people while you getting the money, but now 20
right.
years, 30 years down the line, 40 years down the line, were you the pimp or were you the hoe? Because see, money is fleeting, money leaves.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's about having that
Well,
education.
and that's what that's the kind of thing that I kind of like. When I kind of talk to the athletes, I try to talk to them and just let them know that. I mean, like right now, you know, that's really the bag. Just think about it. I mean, it ain't no bad. I mean, now we can say, actually what it is. I mean, think about it. So now, when we was getting pimped, we was the one getting pimped before. Because what did they tell us? Only thing that they tell us while the school was making the money is what? Oh, you go get your education.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, so,
And if you don't, you be pumping gas
so,
in Detroit.
right.
Mm,
So now, so it comes full circle because I'm not gonna say they doing right. They just doing what everybody else was doing before. Now they just evening it up for everybody.
Right.
Let's call it what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one to know that because, like I said, when you're on the highest stage, and then I'm coming from a school, and I got to see the NCAA out of my four
mm,
years, 3 years out of my 4 years every year, because my mom got a new house. My mom, they heard we got a new car, but was it fair to me when I went to all these All American teams? And I was like, man, do y'all have to see the NCAA? No, they don't. So
come on.
now it just comes back full circle where things been happening. So
Yeah.
now everybody get so everybody get a chance.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yep. But everybody didn't have a deuce, a deuce in the car. with 24-inch woofers in the back and a big old fat gold chain.
Man, you gotta understand. That's a South Florida thing. That ain't had nothing to do with the school. When you been, so when you're
Yes, I
able to,
forget.
hey, when you're in high school, hey, that's where you from. That's one of them where you from things.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. That's how we rep. That's how we
Because
repping down for a lot of the.
you,
Tell them,
you got to
son.
ask him. You got to
Yeah,
ask him how was his college experience. That's what you got to ask.
Yeah, I know that might be a whole nother time. I know he don't got but so
Yeah,
much time,
hey,
man.
listen, hey, listen. Well, how is he talking about my college experience? He was part of it. So,
He was right there with you, right?
hey, hey, he older than me. I learned from the
yeah,
best.
yeah. We were at church. We were at church on Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. We was in church, like Mama said. You better be in that
Yeah.
pew. Yeah, what you got to do, you better be right there. Oh man, no. Well, man, appreciate you, Lorenzo, man, holding it down. Michigan State's finest, man, the consecutive Russian yard holder, 4 consecutive seasons, man. Amazing, man. Appreciate you getting on, dog.
Go green.
No doubt.
All right.
You as
All
well,
right.
man.
Go. Yeah. We
Man,
always in and go green, go white, man. It's always
that's how y'all
a
roll. That's cool,
Michigan
man. I
State.
like that. I
A
like that.
Michigan State.
Keeping it together. Well, look, man. Again, appreciate you getting on. Appreciate the stories. Appreciate you guys sharing what your thoughts are in regards to playing ball for those illustrious universities that you played for. For my Beer and Burgers podcast crew, just thank you all. It's been an amazing time here tonight, man. We look forward to the next one, man. Always remember, until next time, keep your buns toasted and your brews frosty. We out.
All right, coach.
Beer and Burgers.